Hi, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of Coming Out with Liz and Eddie. I'm Eddie Conner.
And I'm lizlayug.
This is our season finale of season 3, and it's a perfect show because it's about understanding soul contracts.
I'm so excited about this. I know I get excited about everything, but this is something that I think that you're going to love.
Why, Liz?
Because everyone has a soul contract.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. When you come to this earth.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions for you. And the first one is, what are soul contracts?
And the second one is everyone born with a soul contract? We kind of answered that.
Who established it? Did we?
We kind of cheated a little bit. Yeah.
Who establishes these contracts with us?
And when are soul contracts orchestrated?
And why? So what are soul contracts? I love to give my perspective. Liz loves to give her perspective. That's how we become Lizetti.
That is true. That's how we become Lizetti.
So we take the best of her, the best of me, and then we put it in a little bowl. Then we take the worst of her and the worst of me, and then we take it to the LA City dump. They charge us now to unload the trucks there.
They're so funny.
So what are soul contracts, in your opinion?
Soul contracts, I believe, is the contract we have before we come to this earth, where we decide with our guides and helpers, whomever they may be, and to decide with you, and you are the one to decide, this is what I want to achieve in this lifetime. This is what I would like to do. This is who I'm going to see. This is how I'm going to produce this. So there's all this it's almost like a bucket list for the soul. You're going to decide, I'm going to do this and this and this. And your guides are going to say, well, do you think you can achieve this? You don't have to, but this is what your goals are. Does that make sense?
It does. I like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. You are the one who decides for yourself what it is that you want to achieve when you come into this world, and that's your contract.
And reiterating, it is something you do before you ever have a physical body.
Yes.
And before your soul's ever even inside of utero. Because yes. You're a non-physical, you're 100% pure positive, non-physical, invisible energy, which means your consciousness. Abraham would say you're the same energy that created the sun and the moon and the stars and the sky and keeps them all in perfect proximity to each other. Yeah. So we're not just some piddly little sloppy ass energy left over at the end of the creation of one planet. We literally are the energy that created the universe. Yeah. And that's what our soul is. And it's pure and it's positive. And it has a much better attitude than humans do. Yeah. So soul contracts, in my opinion, is a contract you make as a soul with a group of people, soul group, soul pods, pre-birth planning groups, and then you make that decision. And Liz said it, you have free will, and so you can get down here and then you might change your mind.
Well, yeah, and then, the thing is, when you come here with these soul contracts, a part of yourself still remembers what it is, and then, but overall, you don't really remember until you get here. And then you start living. Yeah. You live your life. And then also, is everyone born with a soul, Eddie? A soul contract? I mean, not a soul. Oops. That was a Freudian slip. A soul contract.
I was like, you tell me, Liz, were you born with a soul? So is everyone born with a soul contract? 100%. And sometimes you will remember it, like Liz is saying, but your subconscious knows it. Your super consciousness knows it, and your soul, of course, knows it. And remember, once you are dumped into a meat suit on the earth plane, like these slim, stealthy, sexy meat suits Liz and I are wearing, we had bad karma from somewhere, didn't we? Then as soon as you're dumped into the body, or you choose a body, why would we choose this? And once you choose a body, you are 0.01% in that body, and the rest of you is a continued perpetuation of the universe at large.
Yeah.
So is everyone born with a soul contract? 100%, and for different reasons. Now, who establishes these contracts with us? The pre-birth planning group. You have mentors, you have teachers, you have elevated consciousness. There are ascended masters. Click, click, click. There are ascended masters and stuff that work with us up in non-physical, and they will give us a little push, won't they?
Well, I think that when you say give a little push, ultimately you're the one who decides. So whoever is helping you with your contract, however you want to say it, you're here for, part of your contract is you're here for X amount of years. And there are a few, this is later, but for right now, let's just suffice to say that you're here for a certain amount of years. You're in agreement to it. You agreed on that. And then you have all these goals that you want to achieve before you come to this earth. And so you will have your guides and you'll say, okay, wow, I'm so excited. I want to do this, and a lot. They go, well, maybe you might want to not do this one yet or this, but you can choose. And so a lot of times souls will come to this earth and they're very excited because it's supposed to be a blessing to come here. And
it's supposed to be.
No, it is. It's supposed to be like a paradise for souls. There's a lot of souls that want to come to the earth at this time to be part of the change,
Paradise.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but they will decide with you. How many of your guides will decide with you how long and what you will decide to do. So, yeah. So that's who establishes these contracts. It's you, actually. You will decide it. They'll help you make the decision, but you ultimately decide it.
That's what I was going to say.
I know.
Because she's psychic. And so why do we do this? So you can fine tune. Remember, once your human personality dies on planet Earth or wherever it is, you go back to non-physical and you review that life with the same group of non-physical entities that came together under the umbrella of unconditional love to help you live whatever it is you just came out of. They're going to meet with you. You're going to do a review. And then some beings rest in non-physical between lives. Some come back very quickly. And then you're going to keep building and expanding on each lifetime that you've ever lived and each lifetime between every life that you've ever lived too.
Yeah, because, I agree with you. Because once you pass, like a lot of people, I know this is maybe getting a little off subject, but once you pass from your physicality from this world, you're not any different. You're still who you are, but you're just in a different frequency. And so, yes, Eddie's right. You go review your life. There's an in-between place. If you've had a deep illness or something, then you're brought to a soul hospital, let's say, and you rest until you recover from your life. But regardless, you will still have to review your life once you recover from that, And
listen, you can choose some real traumatic stuff. You could be in a car accident and end up paralyzed from the neck down. You could have been in the World Trade Centers during 9/11. Some souls pick very dramatic things to happen to their physical bodies once they get here. And each and everything, even if it's a mass exodus like 9/11 was, or like volcanic eruptions or whatever.
Yeah, because sometimes they choose as a group.
Yes.
Like as a soul family. That's true.
And sometimes it could be, sometimes it's each one is individual, but sometimes it is the group, as you say, to wake the rest of the people up to some greater thing they may not be aware of.
Yeah.
And sometimes the greater bad.
Yeah.
That they don't know. Like we're waking up right now in a big way on planet Earth, and a lot of people chose to come in and be part of this, quote, great awakening.
Well, even if it has the appearance of being really bad, that soul is being of service to all of us because it awakens something within us, within our soul, to be a part of the greater good.
Yes. And the more aware and awake you become of your non-physical attributes, and you're really authentically connecting to everybody around you that is a match to you, and you pay attention, you will expand your consciousness. You're going to come into more soul groups, more soul pods on the earth plane, meaning humans, and sometimes pets, sometimes parts of the world. I know my soul has been in Machu Picchu many, many lifetimes, and it'll keep going back to Machu Picchu in this lifetime, among other places too. I haven't been to Ireland yet, but I know my big old sissy ass had a past life somewhere in Ireland. That's probably a redheaded chick named Sabine walking along the meadow, looking down over the cliffs going, "Where's my husband?" Because he went out to sea.
Yeah, you're so funny. But I want to say something about soul contracts is that you can also change your soul contract while you're here if you don't take care of yourself, you have a drug addiction, an alcoholic addiction, that can change your soul contract and shorten your life here. That is possible. And then if you decide for yourself that, that is it. That is the one thing that will adjust your soul contract, because we're here for X amount of years and your soul knows it. But again, as Eddie said, if you choose to experience an illness, and die very young or whatever, it's of service to everyone else. But if you choose to not take care of your physical form, because this is your physical body of your host body of your soul here on earth, you can shorten that life, and that could change your contract. Or you decide to, commit suicide or something like that. That will definitely change your contract.
It will. Yeah, and you just pick up where you left off once you get over there.
Well,
meaning continued expanded consciousness with no judgment.
I mean, like one teacher that I studied with for a long time, we had asked her, what happens when you do commit suicide? And she said, well, you're still here on earth. So your soul still remains here for the X amount of years that you have contracted to stay until you're done. So that's rather interesting.
I think an extension of you does.
Well,
but not the whole soul.
No, not the oversoul. No, just that
fragment
of you, who you are here.
That holographic incident. Meaning that incident becomes like this hologram that can keep playing out over and over.
Well, it's just that you're here until you're done. Like, let's say you're here for 50 years and you decide to not take care of yourself. You get very ill or whatever like that. Or you decide let's just use suicide. You decide to kill yourself at 45. So for 5 years after your body you're out of your body already, you'll remain here in the physical plane. Maybe that's a better way to say it, in the physical plane for those 5 years you have left until you can go back to the...
Child, listen, this is why I watch the show. Because I learn stuff all the time. I've never heard that. And there's a couple of things this season I have never heard.
Yeah. And anyway, this is coming from Father John, and who is channeled by Fatima Abate, and from the Temple of Healing. So that's why we encourage people, take care of your body, take care of yourself. And that's what...
Yeah, coming straight from us, that's healthy advice.
The ones who are donut-aholics.
The whole donut-aholic.
So Eddie, let me ask you, when are soul contracts orchestrated?
Before you're born.
You want to extrapolate? On that? You want to extrapolate?
Hold on a second. Let me do my best, Liz. You're like...
You want to extrapolate on that?
Yeah, they're orchestrated before you're born with the pre-birth planning group, council of elders, teachers, and other souls that you're going to be interacting with on the earth plane once you get here, among layers and layers of other beings before you ever step foot in your little tiny petite flower princess, giver goddess, infant body.
Okay.
Is that right?
That's right.
And why?
And why?
Because you want to set the tone. Nothing the universe does is by accident.
Yeah.
Or snackcident.
No, it isn't by accident.
Everything is deliberate. Everything is intentional. Everything is purposeful. Everything is a well-oiled machine because the universe is unconditional love and only continues to say yes to whatever thought, feeling, frequency every living thing sends out physically and non-physically. So what are some of your soul contract experiences on the earth plane?
Well, it's so funny. I want to say that when I came to this earth, I remember at the age of 5 that I woke up. My first memory, I just think my first thought memory of being aware. I mean, I have snippets of memory when I was younger, but to be very clear, I remember that I woke up in a room with a large bed. Turns out to be my parents' bedroom. And I said, my first thought was, what am I doing in this body? And I was 5 years old.
Wow.
And after that, I just I was kind of looking around going like, what is this? I think that was one thing. It could have been that whatever soul was occupying my physical form before I came was done. And then I came in, and then
a walk-in?
A walk-in. It could have been a walk-in, or it could have been, but my soul became aware at that moment. What am I doing in this body?
Well, it sounds like you consciously also became aware of what maybe your soul already knew. And you were having that cross-pollinated moment where you were summoning way more of your soul energy, and you're like, oh, shit, how did this happen?
How did I get here?
Yeah.
Well, I think that I don't know. I couldn't give you a definite answer, but I think that anytime before that, I wasn't as conscious until that moment.
Right.
And then after that, it was off to the races, And then another time, I want to think, I was trying to think what my other soul contracts could be. I think for me, I have always wanted to be, I know it's so funny. As I got older, I was very religious.
Mm-hmm.
And I always had a communication with God, Goddess, all that is. And in the evenings, I would dream of spiritual poetry. Would come into my head, and singing and spiritual poetry. And it would just go on all night after night for years. This would go on. And I was very drawn to church. In fact, I wanted to be a novitiate. I did after school. I wanted to be one of 3 people who wanted to be a nun in my school. I know. Do you believe that? Look at me.
Not knowing you now, I don't.
I know. And I decided at the last minute that I did not want to do that. But I think part of my soul contract was not to do that.
Yeah,
because I had done it before many, many, many times.
Which is the reason at the last moment something inspired you to make a different choice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What's some of yours, Eddie?
I can remember at 4 or 5 years old, and then also again as a teenager, and again when I was 21 and was a car T-boned my car at an intersection, and I was like, oop. And it was setting, I was a pinpoint of light. I saw it. I was the pinpoint of light.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here, my twin sister sitting right beside of me on a branch in the wintertime, and my oversoul or my spirit guide, whatever, is to my left. And we're looking down in this basement window, and through the fogginess or the ice on the window, I could see this man beating his pregnant wife.
Oh, wow.
Kicking her, beating her. She was on the ground. She was balled up. And I looked to my guide and I was like, why are we here? And he said, well, this is your mother and that's your father. And you two this is your entry, your enclave into this lifetime. I'm like, what in the world? But there was no negativity because you're the soul at that point, even though my physical body and her physical body, my sister, was inside my mom already, which is why she was balled up, trying to keep him from kicking her stomach. There was no attachment. It was pure awareness. And it was just known that I would go in and be the gentleman in my mom's world that would help change her perspective about men as a whole.
Oh, yeah.
And that was it. And then after I was born, because I had a soul contract with my twin sister, and she was miscarried. Mm-hmm. And so then I'm by myself without my twin, and she would come to me in spirit and help keep me grounded in this poverty-driven environment that we were in that was so volatile and sadistic. And she went away the night before the morning my baby brother was born.
Wow.
And so that was I saw it, I felt it, I sensed it, and I know I have a soul contract with my mama. I know I have a soul contract with my sister, Rachel, and with that entire environment to raise the consciousness, whether they could be part of it or not. And then another knowing is I know my grandma. Whenever I was growing up, I did not like my grandma child. Well, I didn't like my daddy either. And I had trouble with my stepdaddy. And so grandma everything was poverty. Everything was poverty. But poverty brings out the ugly and the fugly in everybody. It just does. It makes it worse than it needs to be. And so I just would bite the bullet and just endure my grandmother. Same with my birth dad, my stepdad. And then fast forward to the day I graduated high school, I moved out. I was gone. I was homeless, but I was gone. And I couldn't take it anymore. And then I ended up dating a guy that was identical to my birth dad and my grandmother and my stepfather.
Wow.
And it was horrible. But me believing I could help himself, he didn't want to be helped. I was now in a 2-year relationship that was identical to everything I saw growing up. But I knew I had a soul contract with, his name was Lee. And my mom, and my dad, and my stepdad, and my grandma. It's like I was trying to burn off 5 effing lives at once.
Yeah.
So now I am driving around the block to go pick up the kids I'm going to babysit between jobs to make extra money to put gas in my car because I'm a workaholic. And as I'm driving around the block, somebody in a Fiat runs the red light at 65 miles an hour. Her light is red. My light is green. And she T-boned the hell out of the car. When she did, I saw everything in slow motion. And the car, it was like, like a strobe light.
Oh, yeah.
My body, my astral body came up out of my physical body before she hit the car because I saw all of it explode from above. And I saw my body in the floorboard of the station wagon on the side she had hit. While I was in the light, holding space, just being there, I instantly understood my contract with my grandmother. I instantly understood why my mother was who she was because of my grandmother. I instantly understood my birth dad's pain and behavior as a sadist and my stepdad. And I instantly saw how I attracted Lee with my thoughts and feelings, who was a manifestation of everything I ran away from. I jumped out of the frying pan into the fire with somebody that was 3 times worse than he could have been. I was up there for no more than like 5 or 6 minutes until the firemen came. Cute firemen, by the way. Came and got the jaws of life.
Yeah, I got you out of there.
And got me out of there. And then there was no jaws of life, really. In my mind, there wasn't. And so I went back into my body with the awareness. And I never ever looked back at any of those players in my soul contracted life again without remembering, bitch, you chose it. You picked it. Now learn the lesson,
That's
evolve
right.
from it, expand, grow, because if you don't, you get to do this all over again.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
Hey, if you're just tuning in, you're watching Coming Out with Liz and Eddie. I'm Eddie Conner.
And I'm lizlayug.
This entire show is all about understanding your soul contracts. And Liz and I have been sharing a couple of our personal soul contractual experiences. So we're going to do a quick recap here. The first thing, and we're just going to bullet point again, and then we're going to expand on it based on the experiences we just shared.
Yeah.
The first one is, what are soul contracts?
Second one is everyone born with a soul contract?
Our soul group and our pre-birth planning group work with our soul to establish our personalized soul contracts. And
when are soul contracts orchestrated?
And the non-physical first.
Yeah.
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 So what are soul contracts? Based on everything we've talked about, your soul is perfection in action. It chooses an experience it's going to have once it enters the earth plane, right?
That's right.
And is everyone born with a soul contract?
Absolutely.
And we are born with soul contracts. We establish these contracts with the beings on the other side that are there for our expansion.
Yes. And ultimately we choose.
And that's also when they're orchestrated as a non-physical. Yeah. But our soul group, we have a soul group and a pre-birth planning group. We've talked about it a lot.
Soul family.
Yes. Yeah. It's so important. There are so many elements. And by the way, your soul contracts could be with beings from other parts of the universe. They could be from the Pleiades. They could be from Omega. They could be from Uranus. Oh, Uranus, sorry. Listen, I would not put it past anything at this point, would you?
No.
So what was your personal favorite thing about soul contracts today and how it will help the audience?
I think that what's important to know, my favorite thing is that you ultimately have choice because you have free will and choice and nothing is forced upon you. You can choose. That's my favorite thing. What about you? Mine
is getting to the joy of remembering the whys. Because I think when you're feeling victimized or your life isn't going the way your left brain thinks it should, I grew up hearing all of these whiny, sucky, bitchy, moany energy vampires, white trash trailer park, backwoods, foot hillbilly complainers. It's like, why is that so bad? And I remember watching, it was bad for me too, but I was like, there's got to be a more productive perspective. Mm-hmm. There has to be a new perception. There has to be a way to look at this. I was always the kid that asked why. Yeah. And I am going to go to my grave asking why. And that's my favorite part, asking why and getting the answers to why. Why is my dad the way he is? Boom, car crash. I got to see his soul agreement with me and non-physical while my body was down in the car with my grandma, with my stepdad, with my mom, with my boyfriend at the time, all simultaneously.
You understood. Your soul gave you that information.
Because I would not stop asking. I couldn't ask adults. I couldn't ask teachers. God knows I didn't ask the preacher. Yeah. I call it a pulpit for a reason, people. And long story short, the wise, look at you smiling. The wise is internally, not from a place of feeling like a victim. They were heart-centered. I would like to know so I can help other people going through this whiny, sucky, bitchy, moany environment.
But what it did was it helped you because you could relax into your life and go, oh, you forgave.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a big deal. It's like once you understand.
And you know what's crazy? I just realized this. See, is you part of my soul contract?
Mm-hmm. We're probably part of the same soul family, honey.
I guess I need to clean up my vibration.
You're so silly.
No, I do believe we're part of the same contract. But you know what? I literally just this moment realized, did you know after I got knocked out and had my out-of-body experience hovering over the car and visiting with the souls of all the people that made my life a living hell, once I came back into my body, true story, Lee came to the emergency room where I was. And as soon as they released me, he's like, we're going to Godfather's Pizza to have draft beer and pizza. I'm like, I can't move. Mm-hmm. And so what did I do? What? I went to Godfather's Pizza. I did exactly what he wanted me to do. But that was the tipping point. I understood why he was like he was. I understood that there was nothing I could do. No amount of love on planet Earth could wake him up to a better quality of life. And then within 6 months, I moved. I moved from High Point, North Carolina to Raleigh-Durham Chapel Hill. And immediately the things I dreamt of doing my whole life as this kid in a trailer park, I ended up dancing, designing, being a choreographer. And Lee and I broke up within 6 months. It was quantum leap after quantum leap after quantum leap once I understood. And then I was introduced to a whole new group of friends and soul family, and my entire life quantum leaped even more. Yeah. So this could happen to you too. Just be at an intersection at the right time when a Fiat is running a red light. I'm joking. I wouldn't ask you to do that. So I do believe we're part of the same soul family.
Yeah, I do too. I really think so.
And so we can't end the season without thanking friends that we personally, well, I know for a fact they're part of you soul family.
Exactly.
But I'm going to piggyback on her excitement, and I'm going to pretend they're part of mine too, because I really believe they are. So we want to say thank you to Malcolm.
Yes.
We want to say thank you to Ebony and Vanessa and Cross and Apollo.
Yes.
And seriously, we couldn't keep doing what we love to do
without them.
Yeah, because we're very elementary in our awareness of technology.
For sure. Say it again.
We're very elementary in our awareness of technology. And guess what? I'm observing that with no judgment whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly.
Because this ain't pretty. Us over here trying to figure out how to use an iPhone.
You're so silly.
Did I tell? I had some friends that I was working with that were doing some IT work for my computer, and Aaron connected me with them, and they're called Urban IT. Now, this is how simple-minded I was. Mm-hmm. She was telling me, "Okay, here's the number, here's the contact, da 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 da," and then I said to her one day, I said, they're so great. Their customer service is phenomenal. They're amazing. I loved everybody I talked to, but their name is so stupid. And she said, why is their name stupid? I said, why would you call yourself Urban It?
Edward.
And so she's like, yeah, this is why you need help. So,
and on that note.
On that note, our next show, Liz, is... kidding.
Yeah, I know. I was going to say, this is our season finale. And we'd like to thank everyone who's involved in the show, helping us produce it, putting it together, directing us, support, emotional support, and everything else. On
this side of the camera. And then we thank all of you on that side of the camera as well. So thanks so much for tuning in. You've been watching the full season 3 of Coming Out with Liz and Eddie. I'm Eddie Conner.
And I'm lizlayug.
And we hope you now understand your soul contracts. And until we meet with you next season, please remember to keep your thoughts, your feelings, and frequencies high, fast, and pure so that you can unlock the universe within. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you, everyone.